The film starts with a child reading a comic about the Daily Planet, the biggest newspaper in Metropolis. As the child reads, the scene shifts to the real Daily Planet and then into space, revealing the planet Krypton. Krypton is home to a highly evolved race with unique physical traits due to the planet's strong gravity and radiation from its red sun. The planet is ruled by a council of elders, each representing a different clan with a specific crest. The greatest scientist, Jor-El, bears the S-shaped crest of the House of El. He oversees the trial of 3 criminals, General Zod, his mute henchman Nan, and Ursa, who wants to exterminate all men except Zod. Despite his doubts about the council, Jor-El convicts them. The city's dome opens to release the Phantom Zone, a prison where the criminals are cast into eternal limbo. Zod vows revenge on the House of El, even if it takes 1,000 years, as Ursa pleads for mercy. Jor-El is worried because Krypton is shifting into its star's deadly gravitational pull, but the Council of Elders ignores the threat. The council leader forbids Jor-El from warning anyone, threatening him with imprisonment in the Phantom Zone. Jor-El agrees to stay silent and not try to escape with his wife, Lara. Instead, he builds a crystalline starship for their infant son, Kal-El. Lara is anxious because the ship will send Kal-El to Earth, a primitive planet with a yellow sun, but Jor-El knows the yellow sun will give Kal-El superpowers. As Krypton begins its final plunge into its star, Jor-El and Lara say goodbye to their son and install a green crystal in the ship, containing their essence and universal knowledge. The starship launches just before Krypton is destroyed in a catastrophic collision with its star. The small starship, with Jor-El's voice guiding the growing Kal-El, reaches Earth in 1951 and crashes into a wheat field near Smallville, Kansas. Local farmers Jonathan and Martha Kent find the now 3-year-old Kal-El and decide to adopt him, believing he's a gift from God. Kal-El shows his strength when he lifts a truck to save Jonathan from an accident. 15 years later, Clark Kent, as he is now named, is a student at Smallville High School. He's a water boy for the football team and friends with cheerleader Lana Lang, but he's bullied by her boyfriend, Brad Wilson. Clark, aware of his powers but instructed by his father to keep them hidden, secretly kicks a football into orbit and outruns a speeding train. A young girl who sees him perform these feats tries to tell her parents, but her mother dismisses her as telling tall tales. Clark returns home and is puzzled by how quickly he got there compared to Brad and the others. Jonathan reassures Clark that he has a purpose on Earth and advises him not to let others get to him. Clark feels better but soon finds Jonathan collapsed from a heart attack. After Jonathan's death, Clark blames himself, feeling his powers were useless. Later, Clark hears a strange noise from the barn and finds the remains of the meteor and the activated green crystal of Jor-El. He tells Martha he needs to leave for the north. Martha, expecting this moment, tells him to remember her. They share a tearful farewell before Clark sets off. Clark reaches the North Pole and throws the green crystal into the ice, which starts to build a huge crystalline fortress of solitude. Inside, he finds a matrix table and uses a crystal to activate a communicator, revealing the preserved consciousness of Jor-El, his real father. Jor-El tells Clark his true identity is Kal-El and guides him through a journey across time and space to help him mature and understand his purpose. When the journey ends, Kal-El is now 30 years old, and Earth has aged to 1978. Kal-El, fully grown and in a red and blue costume with a long red cape, is ready to protect his new home. In Metropolis, at the Daily Planet newspaper, photographer Jimmy Olsen takes photos of the busy newsroom. Ace reporter Lois Lane, who struggles with spelling, is introduced to the paper's newest employee, Clark Kent. Clark, a tall and shy news writer, seems awkward to Lois. When they are held up in a back alley by a gunman, Clark pretends to faint as the thug fires at Lois. In reality, Clark catches the bullet with his bare hand, causing the gunman to flee. Later, he surprises Lois by listing all the items in her purse. Lois and Clark get a taxi as a heavyset man in white, Otis, walks by, eating snacks and carrying a Daily Planet. 2 undercover cops, Harry and Armis, are following Otis, who works for the criminal mastermind Lex Luthor. They track him to Metropolis Grand Central Station. Harry follows Otis onto subway track 22 while Armis goes for backup. Otis waits in a tunnel for a train. As the train passes, a secret doorway opens. Harry tries to open it, but is caught on hidden security cameras by Luthor, who activates the doorway and pushes Harry into the path of another train. Luthor's assistant, Eve Teschmacher, is shocked by the scene, but Luthor dismisses her concerns, taking pride in his reputation as a top criminal mastermind. He recounts how his harsh father taught him that, despite collapses of governments or economies, people will always need land and will go to great lengths to obtain it. This lesson has driven his criminal career. When Otis arrives at their hideout, he is scolded for being followed and is assigned the dull task of feeding mysterious creatures in a pit meant for disposing of intruders. Luthor is more focused on a Daily Planet story about upcoming tests of nuclear missiles. He plans to use this test to carry out the biggest real estate scam ever. That night, Lois Lane is set to fly in a Daily Planet helicopter to meet Air Force One. As the chopper takes off from the helipad, a cable snaps and gets caught in the landing skids, causing the chopper to spin out of control and crash onto the ledge. As police evacuate the area below, Lois tries to escape but ends up dangling by her seatbelt. Clark Kent, noticing a yellow rain hat on the sidewalk that Lois was wearing, sees the wrecked chopper. While people around him flee, Clark finds a place to change. He rushes into a nearby building, opens his shirt to show his emblem, and spins through a revolving door at super speed to become Superman, surprising a nearby pimp. As Lois falls from the crashing helicopter, Superman swoops in to catch her and safely lifts her up. He then catches the falling chopper with one hand and returns it to the helipad, impressing the crowd. Lois, overwhelmed and exhausted, faints after asking Superman who he is, to which he simply replies, "A friend." Superman then performs several heroic acts. He stops a cat burglar using giant magnets, intercepts bank robbers, rescues a cat from a tree, and saves Air Force One after lightning damages its engine and wing. The next morning, Superman visits the Fortress of Solitude and speaks with Jor-El's spirit, sharing his feelings about revealing his powers. Jor-El advises him to use his powers wisely and commends him for his progress. After Superman's heroic actions make headlines, Lex Luthor views him as a threat to his plans and vows to destroy everything Superman stands for. Meanwhile, Perry White declares finding out about Superman a top priority and sends his staff to gather any information they can. Lois, however, gets ahead of the others when she receives a note inviting her to dinner from a friend. During their dinner date, Superman impresses Lois with his kindness and takes her on a romantic flight through the sky. They part ways with Lois naming him Superman in her front page story. Lex Luthor reads the article and recalls a theory that Superman's home planet's radiation would affect him on Earth. He remembers a Kryptonian meteorite found in Ethiopia that could emit radiation harmful to Superman. Although Miss Teschmacher doubts this will work because Superman can see them coming, they notice that Superman struggles to see through lead, which they plan to use against him. Meanwhile, Luthor's gang intercepts 2 missile convoys meant for a big test. They use various disguises to distract attention while reprogramming the missiles. Otis mistakenly misprograms one missile, claiming his arm was too short to write down the coordinates. Luthor angrily attacks him for this mistake, but Miss Teschmacher calms him down and prevents a crash. The Daily Planet discovers that someone is buying up land in the Southwest Desert, leading Perry to send Lois and Jimmy to investigate. If Clark had shown more initiative, he would have been assigned the task. Meanwhile, Clark hears a high-pitched signal that only Superman and dogs can detect. It's a warning from Lex Luthor, who says he'll release poison gas unless Superman confronts him alone. Pretending to have a migraine, Clark slips away from his colleagues, changes into Superman, and follows Luthor's signal to the street. Superman drills through the ground into Luthor's hideout, where he faces an automated defense system, machine guns, fire, and liquid nitrogen. Superman walks through all these defenses unharmed. Inside the hideout, Superman demands to know about Luthor's gas pellet. Luthor reveals it was a fake, just a way to get Superman's attention. He then explains his real plan, to use one missile to destroy the San Andreas Fault, causing California to collapse into the ocean and making the desert valuable. The second missile is a cover. Luthor boasts that no one, including Superman, can stop both missiles and can detonate them remotely. Superman sees a lead box, thinking it contains the detonator. When he opens it, he finds kryptonite, which weakens him. Luthor puts the kryptonite necklace around Superman and takes pleasure in showing that a normal human has found a way to defeat him. Superman learns that the second missile is targeted at Hackensack before Luthor drops him into a pool to drown. Luthor has made a crucial error. Due to Otis misprogramming, Eve Teschmacher's mother lives in Hackensack. As Luthor and Otis track the missiles, Eve begs Superman to stop the Hackensack missile first. Superman agrees, and she frees him. Regaining his strength, Superman blasts through the lair's ceiling and heads west. He tries to stop the first missile over Kansas, but it evades him, so he pushes it into space. Meanwhile, the second missile detonates the San Andreas Fault, causing a massive earthquake. Superman flies beneath the Earth's crust to stabilize the land and prevent further disaster. After the earthquake, Superman flies around rescuing people from the aftermath. He eventually senses Lois Lane is in danger. Her car has run out of gas and fallen into a fissure, burying her alive. Superman finds and pulls out the car, but Lois is already dead from suffocation. He kisses her goodbye and stands over her in grief. Superman then roars in anguish and flies into the sky. He hears Jor-El's voice reminding him not to interfere with human history. Remembering his failure to save Jonathan, Superman resolves to save Lois. Using all his power, he flies around the Earth faster and faster, reversing its rotation and pulling time backward. He then restores the planet's rotation and reaches Lois before her car is buried. Luthor and Otis plan to drop Miss Teschmacher into the pit of dangerous creatures. Superman rescues her and tells Luthor that Miss Teschmacher's mother sends her love. Later, Superman delivers Luthor and Otis to a maximum security prison. Luthor defiantly shouts, but Otis interrupts him. As the guards lead them away, the warden thanks Superman, who humbly says he is just doing his part for society. Superman then flies off into the sky, ready for more adventures, and gives a wink and a smile to the audience. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.